So how do self-employed people prove income for a mortgage? Let's find out. So self-employed people are assessed differently because the lender perceives them as higher risk than employed applicants. And this is because when you're self-employed, your income's seen as less stable. It can be far more volatile. And also, on top of this, you only pay your tax once a year. So for the lender's own regulation, they need to ensure that they're using taxed income for the purpose of mortgage affordability. So therefore, if you just start up a business and you've only been in business for a few months, a lender can't actually verify that income with HMRC. They'll have to wait until you've done at least 1 year, but often 2 or 3, before your income can be verified. And when it is verified, you can then prove that through your tax year overview documents. But at that point, you'll have worked for at least over a year in your business. So for self-employed applicants, lenders will ask for a few key documents from you. Firstly, tax calculations. Now you get tax calculations when you submit your tax return to HMRC, and it will list any income that you've received from your self-employment, whether that be from sole trader or partnership business to your dividends or perhaps income from property. It should all be listed on your tax calculation document. Secondly, they'll need to see your tax year overview document that gives an overview of the tax that you've already paid on your self-employed income, which will show on your tax calculation. These two documents are normally requested hand in hand because they go together and they're generated when you submit your tax return. And lastly, lenders might ask for business bank statements to make sure that your business is healthy. So lenders will normally expect you to be in business for at least 2 years before you can apply for a mortgage. And this is because they want to see that your income is stable. Most businesses sadly fail in the first year, so you can see why this requirement exists. However, saying that, there are a few more specialist lenders that can accept just 1 year of self-employed income. However, there aren't any lenders that will accept less than this. So lenders calculate self-employed income very differently to employed income. For self-employed people, they'll look at your last 2 years of tax calculations, and as long as your income has actually increased in the business, they'll normally average those two figures. However, if your business has done worse and your income is now lower through the business, they'll normally take that reduced figure. So the first tip is that you should separate your personal and business finances quite clearly. You don't want the lender seeing conflicting information and asking for more documents. This could delay your application. Secondly, you should file your tax returns and pay your tax on time. If you don't file on time and if you don't pay on time, the lender might flat out refuse to accept your application until the tax is paid. Thirdly, you should reduce your overdraft usage where possible. If you're going in and out of your overdraft quite frequently, this can be a bit of a red flag to a mortgage lender because it shows you might not be living within your means. Also, avoid taking debt before applying. Your credit report, it typically takes 6 weeks to update properly. So if you take on debt before applying, and if you don't tell your mortgage broker, if you don't tell your lender, if they run another credit check at some point during your application, they're likely to see it and they may decline your application. Another tip is to maintain a stable income where you can. I know this is really difficult when you're running a business. You might have seasonal demand for your business, but if you can keep income stable, it's not going to raise any red flags with a mortgage lender. And the last tip is that you should speak to a mortgage broker if you're submitting a self-employed mortgage application. These applications can be quite complicated, so speaking to a broker like Boon Brokers that's well experienced with self-employed applicants can be invaluable. Thank you for watching this video on proof of income requirements to get a mortgage. If you'd like to apply for a mortgage, feel free to contact one of the brokers here at Boon Brokers. We're a whole of market, fee-free mortgage brokerage, and we'd be more than happy to help you.